Before I get into my review of Star Trek Into Darkness, I'd like to have a word with you about personal space. When I go to the movie theater, I'm a maniac, and I like to go about a half hour early just because I got nothing better to do with my time. I like to pick out my seat and stare at the wall, like crazy people do in cages. So I show up, do my whole kind of, half hour early type routine, and find a nice seat. I say, hey, you know what? This is nice. I could sit here. There's 3 empty seats here. I could sit my girth onto and enjoy this movie. So I do that, right? And there's about, I don't know, maybe 3 other people in the movie theater with me, 3 or 4 other people, and we're all kind of scattered about. Again, personal space. Apparently, Gallant knows about personal space in a movie theater, and Goofus doesn't. Is it Goofus? Gallus and Goofin and Gallant and Goofus, right? Or Doofus? I didn't read as a kid. This guy comes in, decides the perfect place in the entire movie theater to sit is right here. There's a sea of empty chairs. He can take his pick. He could sit wherever he likes. No, this seat right here seems like the perfect place to sit, right? So he sits down there. He's sitting on my shoulder like a pirate's bird, right? Just on my shoulder. He's sitting on my lap, looking in these eyes right here. So I was going to get up and leave. As soon as he came and sat down right here in an empty goddamn movie theater, I was like, I'm just going to get up and leave before I take a bat and cave in somebody's brains all over my nice new suit, right? So I said, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get up and leave because, that would be rude if he sits down and then I get up and leave. Like, that's a rude thing to do, right? And then I thought, no, he was rude first. He did the preemptive rude strike here by sitting right fucking here, right here, on my lap with a completely empty movie theater, right? So I said, all right, I'm not gonna worry about this. I'm just gonna sit here and do my thing. So I sit there and I think to myself, well, hey, it could be worse. He could start making weird, crazy sounds and just like weird, goofy noises coming out of him the whole movie. And then he starts making weird, goofy noises. In Minecraft, when you go to the Nether, and there's that sound that's like a cross between when Dave goes to McDonald's and gets a 64-ounce Donkey Kong barrel of soda, and you take the straw and you move it up and down, and it makes that kind of plastic on plastic kind of squeak. Mix that with like a breathy like wheeze. Mix those two sounds, and that's what was coming out of this guy's fucking face, who decided sitting right here was a fine idea, right? Personal space, kids.
He fell asleep in New Jersey before the bombs hit the ground. Broadcasting from a bomb shelter, he is the nuclear clown.
The new Star Trek movie is called Star Trek Into Darkness. And you know why I said it like a lunatic just now? Because it's not Star Trek, 2 dots, into darkness. It's Star Trek Into Darkness. It's not even... There's nothing separating it, so I am going to say it as if it's a sentence. Like, Star Trek Into Darkness. That's what I'm going to say. And that sounds really silly. But that's what happens when you don't put your 2 dots. Your 2 dots. 2 dots. That's how we do it in this with the 2 dots. So, Star Trek Into Darkness. My spoiler-free review of the new Star Trek movie is as thus. Boy, did I have fun seeing this movie. Seriously, I'm not even joking with you. I had a blast watching Star Trek Into Darkness. I liked it a lot. Now, was it without its problems or its little thingies here or there that could be better? Of course not. There were parts in this movie that bugged me a little bit. One part in particular that bothered the bejesus out of me that I'm going to be talking about at length. But I really, really liked this. And this review is going to be different. I think, than normal. Because when I saw this movie, the different twists and kind of turns that the plot took really did surprise me, and I knew pretty much nothing going into this film. And as I sat there and saw kind of where they were going with it and what they were doing with this storyline and where it was kind of all going, I super duper enjoyed that. I really did like that not knowing part. So I am not going to tell you the big kind of reveals or really go into too much detail on the finer points of the plot here, only because I think you will enjoy the movie that much more if you experience them for yourself. So I'm going to give you the basic, kind of plot and theme and premise and stuff like that, and talk about, boobs and stuff like I normally do on here. The first 5 or 10 minutes of this movie are so good because it's like a little mini Star Trek episode. It's literally like you're sitting at home and you're flipping through the channels and it's like, oh look, it's Star Trek. Let me see what the kooky gang is up to. Aha, they're on some funky alien planet. All right, let's see what they're gonna do. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was refreshing in that the first movie. Now, and I've done a review on it. If you want to see what I said on that, it's, I don't know, 3 hours long. Go check it out because I'm not gonna rehash it, but a small rehash, I guess. I really didn't like how they had to put the obligatory Leonard Nimoy cameo in there. And I hate time travel storylines. I hate alternate reality storylines. Like, look, if you're going to reboot something, have balls and just say, it's different. Deal with it. We're not going to give you an obligatory cameo of somebody in the other thing. It's just different. And we're going to take it our own way, and that's that. You're going to upset a lot of people no matter what you do with a franchise like Star Trek, with the history it has, with the fan base it has. No matter what you do with it, you're gonna piss a lot of people off. So just do your vision of it. That's what I think they should have done, and not done the whole stupid Spock going back in time and playing Dungeon Master and saying, well, you have to be friends with Jim Kirk because I was. It's just lame, right? So the first 10 or 20 minutes of this movie where they have their fun little thing, I felt relieved, and I thought, man, that's so good. We got all that stupid alternate reality shit out of the way. We're not going to have any more lame-ass cameos from Mr. Spock. Good. I'm so glad we're not going to have that in this movie, right, guys? Right? More on that later. So I thought the beginning, right from the start, it was just fun and just a blast to sit through. I really did like it quite a bit, and it started off with a great kind of a great energy, so to speak. Now, there's a ton of stuff going on in this movie, so I'm probably going to be jumping back and forth, but you're probably used to that if you watch my videos at all. But Star Trek Into Darkness is really kind of follows in the vein of Star Trek 6, I thought, where there was this big kind of inner conspiracy among Starfleet, trying to wipe out the Klingons after their homeworld, or a moon by their homeworld, exploded. So it was really just kind of an intricate kind of a web of I don't know, like Kiefer Sutherland 24 type stuff and whatnot. And Star Trek Into Darkness, Into Darkness, Out of Darkness, Outro, Intro to Darkness, Into Darkness. Star Trek Darkness was very much like that. It's not your typical Star Trek kind of movie, and it's just it was a really great contrast from the beginning, which is that kind of mini episode I was talking about, like a really super action-packed, adventurous, fun kind of thing, going into this sort of multi-leveled conspiracy type deal. It was nice. It was a neat contrast, I thought. And very different, and not at all what I was expecting from this movie. Though, this did seem like the third movie to me. Like, it seems like there was a movie I missed from the first one and this, because all of a sudden Spock and Kirk are best of friends, and they're just, the bromance is out of control between the two of them, and they're like, snorting Ketracel White off an Orion's tits in the holodeck, and it's just like, wow, when did these two guys become I was gonna say Sam and Diane. That doesn't make any sense. But, when did these guys become such good friends? They hated each other, and they were throwing each other out of airlocks, and Spock, flushed Kirk onto a planet with monsters trying to eat him. But, I don't know. I guess they knocked back some Romulan ale and forgot about that shit, I guess. But, yeah, it did seem like all of a sudden, boom, best of friends. Best of friends, indeed. And I don't know. I thought, it felt like I missed something. It felt like I missed a movie in the middle. Malcolm in the Middle as captain of the Excelsior, we'll say, in this expanded universe. So, that was a little weird. Also, during this movie, and the last movie, actually, Kirk's rank just goes... Within 5 or 10 or 15 minutes of this movie, Kirk is the captain of the Enterprise. Then he's the ship is taken away from him. Then he's reinstated, but he's reinstated as the first officer to Captain Pike, and then he's captain again. 20 minutes in, we've already gone through 4 rank changes for Captain Kirk. And stacked on to the how many rank changes in the first one, where he was the first officer, then he was off the ship, then he was launched out the airlock, then he was back, then he was captain. Okay, man. All right. So already that was a little bit jarring with the rank swapping, rank swap 2013 kind of that happened. I think they could have done that a little bit less. Jim, we're taking the Enterprise away from you. Oh, no. Jim, I got good news. I'm the captain of the Enterprise now. You're my first mate. Thanks, Captain Pike. Wait, Jim, I'm dead. You're the captain again. This is literally, I'm not even exaggerating, this is like a 10-minute span of the movie. This shit happens. And, take your time, guys. Just take your time. Now, my big bitch about movies, for the most part, they're too long. This movie is too long. There's no need for this movie to be so long. There's no need for a 2.5-hour movie. There's no need for this fucking guy to sit. But I'm going to say, Star Trek Into Darkness, I believe, should have been about, you could have easily tacked on 20 minutes or a half hour to this movie, because I think that a lot of it kind of went too quick and would have been better served if they did a bit more kind of expanding on the plot. Again, I'm not going to spoil an incredible amount, but I will say we see fucking Klingons. I'm doing the pelvic thrust because I was so happy. I was in the seat like a little kid. Like I was so excited when they showed Klingons, when they go to the Klingon homeworld, and I was just bouncing up and down in my seat, and the tiles on the roof were caving in, and the entire place was shaking, and people were running around, and earthquake. It was so awesome. And I loved that. I really did have a lot of fun with this movie. Some observations. When they have their dress-up Starfleet uniforms on, they have these, what is it? The uniform, the officer, whatever. They have the nice shirts have these things on the side here. And they had this design on them like the military people have. Epaulette, is that what it is? E-P-A-U-L-E-T-S? Epaulettes? Don't know. Shoulder thingies. I just call them shoulder thingies here. And this is the sign language for shoulder thingies, in case you're wondering. And they had these designs on them. And to me, they look like dollar signs. It looked like the $1 Million Belt. At least to me it did. And I thought that was kind of funny. So anyway, James Woods, the story, basic overview of the story. James Woods is a bad guy. He's James Woods, who I thought was RoboCop. This is like the third time I've done this review because I keep deleting it because it's awful because it's even worse than normal. So I delete it. And deleted it again and again and again. But the first time I did this, I said that James Woods was RoboCop. I thought it was. But it's Peter Weller who was RoboCop. Oops. But I'm gonna for this review, I'm gonna call him RoboCop. So Admiral RoboCop wants to militarize Starfleet, and he wants to pick a fight with the Klingons, and he wants to make a Starfleet much more militaristic and have ships designed purely for battle. And he's even made one himself in secret, the big ass fucking dreadnought, which is a big ass fucking dreadnought. So you need an excuse to keep pumping out these war toys, right? So he's going to try to start a war with the Klingon Empire without openly starting a war. Where do the people in Hollywood come up with this stuff? Governments starting wars with people, making it look like they started wars. Where do they get this stuff? I don't even know. It's so just beyond me. And the Enterprise is like firing, is like doing a drone attack on the Klingon homeworld from far away, killing a terrorist enemy from far away with drones. Where do they get I don't know where they get. These people must be smoking some reefer because these just plot things are so nuts. Don't know where this happens. I don't know. So anyway, the Enterprise kind of gets mixed up in this whole deal, and they're going to be like the patsy, I guess, for Admiral RoboCop's grand scheme. Now let me talk about James Woods for a second. He does not seem like he's into this at all. It seems like he's got the script on his lap, and he's just kind of flipping through it, going like, "What the spaceships and laser beams and aliens and stars, moons, quasars, fucking big country booty, big country titties, booyah," right? Is what he said in RoboCop when he's when they have him in the RoboCop chair and his mask is off, and then they're like, "What are your prime directives?" And he's like, "Big country booty, big country titty, booyah." And then it's like, "Dave, did you program RoboCop to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah!" And then I get arrested. And then they put me to death in the chair. But some guy sits right here, right? He's like, "Hey, it's a good seat. Hey, it's Dave. He's sitting all by himself. Let me go sit on his face real quick." Asshole. So anyway, that's kind of the thing. And again, I'm not going to go into specifics here on the plot and the twists and turns involved, because it is quite cool, and it really is nice to see how things kind of unfold. On my podcast, I'll probably talk about it more in depth, because the first kind of run through, I guess, review of this I did was 50 minutes, and I wasn't even halfway done. And I was like, "Listen, I gotta go to school in the morning or something. I don't know. I don't have to go to school. I don't ever have to go to school. Learn this guy? No, don't think so." So, that's the gist of the story. And the bad guy is this ex-rogue Starfleet guy named John Harrison is his name. And John Harrison, huh? Okay. I mean, the original name for him was going to be Paul Ringo. But they decided against that. And he's been blowing up secret military installations on Earth, so and then he teleports to Kronos, the Klingon homeworld, where he thinks that Starfleet won't come after him, but he's wrong. He is so wrong. And the Enterprise goes to get him and avenge the death of Captain Pike, who dies in one of his attacks. I think that the whole Captain Pike death could have been better, because it's supposed to be a huge deal for Spock and Kirk, and they get all emo and out for vengeance and stuff like that, and they get all Jean-Claude Van Damme movie about avenging their fallen Captain Pike. But again, they could have thrown in some scenes, for when Kirk, they take the Enterprise from Kirk, for 2 minutes, and then they give it back to Captain Pike, and then Captain Pike says, "All right, Kirk, you could be my first officer." If they would have just had a 10-minute scene or something of Kirk serving under Pike and Pike doing something really cool and really, really good. Then you kill him. I think that really would make his death stand out that much more and be more of a big deal. Because again, this happens relatively early in the movie. And this movie is only about 2 hours. I think it's like pretty much exactly 2 hours. And I rarely say this, but they could have definitely tacked on another half hour to this film to do a lot of this stuff. Especially when they finally catch the bad guy, John Harrison, or Paul Ringo, and he's sitting there, where the fuck? And Spock's like, where the fuck is Ringo? And then he takes the nunchucks and he's like, you know what? You're not even worth it. I love that part in Boogie Nights. So anyway, when John Harrison finally tells, the what's going on with him, and he's unveiling like Admiral RoboCop's big scheme and how he helped him design this big, warship and what he plans to do, he's telling it just like I'm talking to you. He's like looking at the camera and saying, and then he did this, and then he did this, and then he tells two friends, and then he tells two friends. I would do in editing, I would do the Wayne's World like, and then he tells two, how that thing happened, but I don't even know how to do that, so I won't. So don't expect it, because I don't know how to do it. Okay? What? I don't know how to do it. It's hard to do. I got crappy video editing software. I don't know what I'm doing with that. So when he's doing that, he's just talking to Captain Kirk. He's just like looking in the camera and speaking. And I think that would have really served well with a kind of not a montage. Well, I guess a montage, yeah, or like a video kind of overlay of Captain Pike making this deal with this guy, designing the ship with this guy, and all this stuff. And because he tells a lot, and when he reveals kind of his story and what he's all about, they could have done more with that and kind of showed more about that rather than just him saying it and then saying, okay, we good? You got the story? All right, cool. Let's break. Let's go do this. So the Enterprise has to go against this Admiral RoboCop, which is very difficult because not only is he a robot, he's got a ship. He's got a giant ship. It's a robot in a ship. Come on. Give up, right? Give up there. So so that's kind of what it turns into in this kind of inner Starfleet thing. Now, one very small problem. I have a lot of really super small problems with this movie. None of them are very serious, but they're just kind of questions I have. This seems like an fucking-normous deal that this high-ranking admiral was making these ships solely for war, and he was trying to get the Federation in this big war with these Klingons. That's a huge deal. And they never kind of really address the impact that has on the whole, Starfleet. They kind of kill him, and that's it. End the movie. Yay, go Starfleet. Like, other people had to be in on this. It wasn't just one guy saying, you know what? I'm going to build a ship. This part goes on this part. This part goes on this part. Oh, giant warship. I mean, right? I don't know. For a conspiracy this big, it's kind of like, well, we killed the Admiral. He's the bad guy. We got his confession on record. Justice has been served. Where's the Romulan ale at? But I don't know. I thought it's a big deal, right? And the ship was just so badass. The Dreadnought thing that Admiral RoboCop was flying in. And so the Enterprise takes off at warp, and they're like, "Ha, sucker! He's gone. We ditched him. We left him in the dirt." But the fucking thing, like, because it's all souped up in like the top of the line technology and stuff like that. So the Dreadnought catches up with them and just blows the fucking shit out of the Enterprise. It was so awesome. It was so great. I love that. It's like they're outgunned, and guess what? They get outgunned. And I thought that was very, very cool. Now, some of the action scenes are over the top, but I think I just got to get used to it. Like, I'm an old man, and when stuff goes on that is so like ludicrously over the top, silly action wise, I can't deal with that because I'm old. But that's just the style of movies nowadays. I just have to grow up and fucking deal with that. But that's, how it's going to go. I should talk about the girls in this movie because boners happen often in this film. The girl who plays Dr. What was his name? Carol Marcus. She plays the Admiral RoboCop's daughter. And yeah, she's got this short blonde hair that I like quite a bit. And there's another girl. I don't know her name. She's in the background of some scenes. Keep an eye out for her if you have a penis. There's a girl. She has white hair, white short hair. And she's in like the red uniform. They never mention her by name. She's just hanging around in the background often and is like one of the hottest girls I've ever seen. Boner time, right? And it's see, that's the thing. When people say, "What's better, the original? What's the best Star Trek series?" The original series. Like, it's so obvious. Duh. The girls are walking around with the knee-high black go-go boots and the short skirts. Like, do we have to have this discussion? Is there even a debate to be had? Giant lizard men and girls in that outfit. Or you can have your next generation girls with the shoulder pads, with the square, the doctor with her, New York Giants outfit that she wears. It's ridiculous. So anyway, the girls were legit in this movie. Yeah, thumbs up. Klingons in this movie, yeah, thumbs like enormously up. Admiral RoboCop, didn't really want to be there. Dreadnought ship, yeah, thumbs up. Totally awesome, fantastic, great. Liked it. Really enjoyed this movie. Really did enjoy this movie quite a bit. And the twists and kind of plot shenanigans they pull with this movie take it in such a cool direction. I really was impressed. I really was impressed with how they did this, because once you get into the story and you say, oh, okay, they're doing this now with the movie, they're going this way, I kind of know what to expect. They take it along a familiar path, but it's different at the same time. And I thought that was just really well done. The one thing kind of bothers me. This, some little nitpicky things again. This guy, John Harrison, the super secret agent guy, he's kind of like James Bond on like dope. He's like a super Jason Bourne type guy, right? Super fast, beats everybody up and stuff like that. At one point in the movie, they stun him once and he goes down. Then during the big fight scene, one of the big fight scenes at the end, where Spock does the nerve pinch, it was awesome when Spock did the nerve pinch on him and like he starts going down, but then he fights it off. I thought that was awesome. That was really cool. And then like Uhura shoots him like 4 times, stuns him like 4 or 5 times, and he's still up. It's like, but he just got. I just saw like 45 minutes. Maybe that one like gave him a concussion. That one time she got shot really fucked him up, and like when you're on PCP and you don't feel pain, and he got, I don't know. It was just weird. It was a little bit funky to me. A little bit funky indeed. And the story as a whole, like some of John Harrison, his whole kind of master plan thing to kind of save his crew, that's kind of fuzzy. I think I'm going to go see this movie again because I've even read like the synopsis on Wikipedia and I was like, I still don't get. That just seems so odd to me. It's just weird. That's a very, very kind of far-fetched kind of way to go about getting your crew back. But man, this movie was really good, and actually I am so amazed that I'm saying this movie should have been about a half hour longer. Not because when it ended, it was like, wow, that was good. I liked it. I felt fulfilled. It wasn't like, oh, that's it. But I'm just saying they could have padded on scenes here or there to really underline some of the points that they were trying to make. And that would have been pretty cool, I thought. But I really wasn't expecting much seeing this movie, mainly because the first thing I think of whenever a new Star Trek movie comes out is, well, who are the bad guys going to be? In the first one we had Romulans. In the second one, what are we going to have? We're going to have a cool bad guy or what? And then I found out it was just some guy. So he's just some dude, huh? All right, I guess. Does he have a robot hand or something? Can he have a tail, maybe? A robot tail? I guess not. But Klingons. There were Klingons in this. Klingons. I was so happy. I was sitting there. I was giddy. I even, for a moment, I turned around. Well, I hugged the guy sitting on my lap. And I said, "It's Klingons. It's Klingons." And he went, or whatever fucking pterodactyl noises he was making behind me. Behind me, really. And let me just say, I don't know if I really said this on I reviewed the original Star Trek a long time ago. And let me just say, could they have done a better casting job with this movie? Like, everyone is perfect. Every single person on this that they picked is perfect. And it's like even the people that they did vastly different things with, like, Chekhov, going from like, I don't know, a guy in his early 30s or whatever in the show to a kid, like a kid. But it works. It works so good. And everybody that they pick to do these roles is so good. Well, except RoboCop, because he's not even trying. So yeah, I'm talking a lot of good stuff. Now I'm going to talk about I like to think, I know I come on here and I bitch and complain about this little, shit, garbage stuff that bothers me about movies. But overall, I do think I'm relatively easy to please with movies. But they just couldn't do this film without calling up good old Grandpa Spock for his obligatory 30-second cameo. I thought we were beyond this, guys. I really did. And I think few things are less heroic than coming across a problem or a situation and then calling up your alternate reality self and say, "Hey, bro, did you ever come across this thing or this person or that person? Tell me about them." "Oh, they're bad? Oh, thanks. Thanks, buddy. Thanks." That's pretty lame. That's pretty crappy, I think. And when I couldn't, it was so unnecessary, and it was so, again, just battering rammed in, like, we gotta have Leonard Nimoy in this again. No, you don't. Why? Why do you? You don't. The story's fine. The story's good. It's an updated take on Star Trek. I get it. That's fine. You don't have to put fucking William Shatner in it. You don't have to put Leonard Nimoy in it. You don't have to do it. But you did. You did. And it was pointless. A pointless throwaway garbage thing for 1 minute. That was lame. And they couldn't figure this out on their own. That they were dealing with a bad guy. They had to go to Spock and say, "Hey, have you ever heard of..." "Oh, yes, I've heard of..." "That's a bad person, brah." Silly. I thought it was incredibly silly. That part bothered me a lot. But the whole time travel alternate, I can't... It's a storytelling crutch, and it's unnecessary, and it's stupid. And I hate that they did that again. But then I look at Carol Marcus, and I say, I can deal with it. By the way, this movie, I really, besides that whole thing there with the Spock shot for 15 seconds, I really do think that the people who made this movie made this for me. They said, you know what? We're going to give Dave what he wants. We're going to give him some motherfucking Klingons. We're going to give him some motherfucking titties. We're going to give him some short-haired, hot-ass girls prancing around the Enterprise deck, because Dave is our boy. Thank you. They knew that this guy, this Minecraft guy, was sitting on my lap making all these weird sounds, and they wanted to do me a favor. So they made a movie for me. Except for that, Spock Dungeon Master thing. What should we do, Dungeon Master Spock? Stupid. Also, one part that was kind of funny Was it just me, or when they were on the Klingon homeworld and they showed Uhura? Did anybody else notice that she was downright like greasy looking? Like her face and her skin, it looked like somebody like smeared baby oil over. Like she looked greasy. She did. Her skin looked so like oily, and I thought, well, maybe it's like because it's hot in the ship or it's hot on the homeworld. But everybody else looked fine. I don't know what when it was just that scene. I don't recall her being like that in any other scene. But I was like, she is fucking greasy looking. She is greasy. Bitch be greasy, y'all. And I love, speaking of the girls in this movie, I love how they introduced this new hot piece of science ass, Carol Marcus, right, into the thing. Name should ring a bell, right? And they introduce her, and they throw in the most the most gratuitous bra shot for the sake of bra shot in the history of cinema. And that's when I knew that the people who made this movie were like, Dave, buddy, we know you've had a goddamn terrible life up to this point. This one's for you, Dave. Like, this is by special request for Dave. Honey, take your bra off. And it was good. Dave said it was good. So Star Trek Into Darkness, silly name for a really fun movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Sure, it did have its problems, but I was far pleased. Far more pleased. Far pleased? I was far pleased. I was far pleased by the good stuff is better than the bad stuffs. By a lot. By a lot. And that just gratuitous, like, hey, look, bra and panties time. All right, let's go fly around in space. Masturbating. Hard. What are you doing, Dave? I'm masturbating hard. Set phasers to spunk. So, if you come away from this review with one thing in mind, I want you to remember 3 words: personal fucking space. And if you sit right next to me in a completely empty movie theater, I'm gonna fucking cut you.